about to get lit. Do tell your friends to rejoin. We are about to get started. I can see two of my panelists already. I think I have one more person that is not here. Grace, please let me know when I can introduce them and start. I can see just two of them. I think I have is Wanjiru that is missing. There's just one more person that is not here. So while we are waiting, I would like to take this time to tell you about the Mansa platform. It's for all business owners. So if you own or you manage a business, right? And you want to be seen by investors, you want to have access to financial institutions, you want to have access to international partners. In the morning, people were asking, how can they find sponsors? How can they access sponsors? This platform is one of the ways which you can access platforms. Someone also asked in the morning, how can they get visibility for their products across border? This is also one of those platforms. So please, if you have not signed up to the Master platform, please do so. We are going to, depending on how we feel and how you also register, we may have a gift or two for registrants. The moderators are going to put the link on the comment section. Please have the link on the comment section. Thank you to all the moderators. Thank you to the people on YouTube. Thank you to the people on Zoom. Thank you to all of you. Because of you, we are having an amazing session. Once again, my name is Chinelo Ekenta. I am joining you from Port Harcourt, Nigeria this morning. We are going to now be going to the panel session. We are going to just do housekeeping again. If you know that you are charged for the session, I need your applauses. And then if you're just joining and you're French, please know that there is interpretation. Si tu es francophone ou bien si tu parles de français, s'il te plaît ou s'il vous plaît, regardez en bas, tu vas voir l'icône de l'interprétation. Appuie sur ça et tu peux écouter l'interprète français, s'il vous plaît. Merci beaucoup. Donc, si vous pouvez apprendre ça en français, donne-moi un ou deux, là on peut savoir que tu peux nous écouter. Merci beaucoup. Okay, please drop the link to the Mansa platform. They are begging. My moderators, where are you? We need the link to the Mansa platform, please, so that we can start. All right, I have it. Okay, Grace, please signal me when. Okay, I've gotten the signal. Okay, so when I was, again, I like to always go through my speakers to know them. And one very interesting thing about this panel that I noticed is we have not just three powerful women, but we have three powerful women from different parts of Africa. We have Eastern Africa represented, we have the Western Africa represented, and we also have Southern Africa. So everyone is here. Imagine how many, when does it happen that you go to a place and you meet three different branches of Africa at the same time? So this session is one that you have to listen to. We have Akiwe here. Hi, Akiwe, nice to meet you. She's the managing director of Brew Stars. It's very, very, very interesting when I read about things that she has done. It's not easy knowing that a woman starts a business, and not just any business, a brewing business. So she's an entrepreneur like you, and she has defied the odds. She has gone above and beyond, and she has also started to do in an industry where people are like, it's hard for people to break in. So please, with an applause all the way from South Africa, please make welcome our first panelist, Miss Akiwe. Great to have you here. We also have Akosua with us. Her camera is going to be turned on tonight, I believe. She's coming all the way from Ghana, Western Africa. She's the founder of a tech company in Ghana. She has also been doing amazing things. I think she holds one of the biggest events in the tech world in Ghana, and it's such a pleasure to be having her here. And finally, we have Wanjiru. Please let me know, did I pronounce your name correctly? Wanjiru. Awesome, that's great. Okay, we have Wanjiru from Kenya. We are my Eastern Africans, Uganda, Rwanda, all of you here. She's the CEO of Wedge Hot Food. So all of you that are in the food industry, get ready. You're going to be hearing a lot from her. She has turned potato into something else. When I was reading her bio, the end said saving the world one potato at a I think one potato something at a time. And in my head, I'm like, wow, people are saving the world with potato. And there are some of you that you are not saving, you are just eating potatoes. You are just eating, all you do is eat. And people are here saving the world using potatoes. So amazing. Thank you so much, all three of you, Akiwe, Wanju, and Akosua. Akosua, let me know. I don't know, we can't see you. I don't know why. Can you hear us or something?
I can hear you. I can see you. Can you see me? You can't see me. My camera's
Okay,
on.
I can see you now. I have seen you now. Great.
Can
Great.
you also hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you all. Awesome. Thank you so much. You all look beautiful, by the way. Black, beautiful women. It's a pleasure
Thank
to.
you.
Okay, so we are going to start. I'm going to start from Miss Apiwe today. Just to take the topic so people understand what we're talking about. Women, we're going to be discussing in this session, defining the art, the journey of first, stories from trailblazing women entrepreneurs. So what are we going to be talking about? We're going to, all what we're going to be discussing is how these people started out, how they broke through challenges, and how they are where they are today. As you can see, or as I've said, you're also going to, at the end of the day, go and follow them on their social media platforms to know more about what they are doing. But they are all three powerful women who have done a lot. So I want, as you're listening to this, you pay attention, you ask good questions. Don't just ask random questions that you can ask anybody, or you can ask ChatGPT. You ask questions that takes only experience to respond, so that at the end of the day, you get the best from it. So I'm going to start with Miss Apiwe. So you are in the brewery industry, like I earlier said. It's an industry that we do not hear often that women are in. So I think the first question I'm going to be asking is how, why? Simply put. So how and why? Yeah, that would be my first question.
Okay, no, thank you. Good. It's afternoon, I think, across the continent. Good afternoon from South Africa. My name is Apiwe Musani Mawela, as introduced by our moderator. So I actually own two companies, and I run a nonprofit, and they are all within the brewing space. So I've got a brand of beer and ciders, and then I've got I run an academy. I started a brewing academy, which is called the Brewsters Academy. So a brewster is a female brewer, is a word that we use for female brewer. And then I run a nonprofit which is called Brew for Change. And the combination of the three companies, actually, I do all the work through them. My passion is on Africa, and upskilling the continent, making sure that we take our space as entrepreneurs in Africa on a global stage. I think gone are the times we across all industries we relied on Europe and America to actually come up with innovations. So for me, I'm pro use of our own indigenous African ingredients. I'm a firm believer that the ingredients that we find in our continent have been there for centuries. Our great grandmothers have been using them before the textbooks were written about brewing, before research were done in universities. We've been doing all these things. It's just that obviously through time we sort of kind of been lost in translation. And if you go anywhere in the continent, women are still the ones that brew beer. Um, and through industrialization, that is also, we've kind of lost that also. So through the entities that I'm running, is just to say, how do you reclaim our space? How do we take up our space as women in Africa? And how do we take Africa to the world? How do we showcase to the world that, you know what, we can do these things, we've been doing it, and we are continuing going to be doing it for centuries to come. So I think in a summary, that's what I Oh, sorry. So in summary, that's what I am about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know that the message interrupted you. Sorry about that. So just to repeat it for the other speakers. We have French people in the room, so please, when you're speaking, try to be a bit slow so that interpreters can catch you and then they can interpret. Thank you for that. Someone has said, wow, that is amazing. Awesome. So we are going to be going to Akosua now. And when I hear that people are tech founders, the first thing that comes to like the way it looks to read the on tech founders or non-tech founders is that this person must be very brilliant in math, so there's fire on your head. Why, of all things, me that I just want to sell maybe something that is easy, but you went fast tech. So again, I'm going to pose the same question to you. How and why? It's not, I'm not saying that women are not in tech. We have a lot of women in tech, but it's also not an easy industry to break into. So what is it that when you started out, really loved tech, or how did you come to who you are today?
Yeah, thank you, and good morning from Accra to everybody. I think I should start out by saying, although I'm the founder of Tech in Ghana, I am not a techie. And this is what, a message I want to definitely get out there is that, you can get into the tech space and not necessarily, be a software developer or be a techie of any kind. My background is actually in journalism, communications, event management, and I use those skill sets in the tech space in Africa. So just to give you a little bit of background, I was a journalist, an entertainment journalist. I was on radio, TV, Hollywood and back for many years, for about 15 years. I was doing that. And then in 2012, my mum died very suddenly. And it gave me an opportunity to stop and think about what I truly wanted to be doing with my life and in my life. At the time, I was living in London and I'd grown up in London. My parents are Ghanaian, but I hadn't been to Ghana much. But from that period when my mum died, I started really reflecting and looking back on who I am, where I'm from, and what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. So I started visiting Ghana, and I came across quite a few entrepreneurs who were in the tech space. And not only that, but also just doing business, other people like myself that were from the UK or the US and decided to move to Ghana. So what I initially started doing was writing about these individuals. Being a journalist, I created a newsletter and I started just pushing that newsletter out to my network that I had known from the UK. And after some time, I started attending a lot of Africa-focused events in the UK and across Europe. And I noticed, this is now around 2015, 2016, I noticed that the conversation around Africa was really focused on technology. And it really kind of intrigued me. But they were only speaking mainly about South Africa and Kenya, Nigeria, and Rwanda even, but all for good reason, because these were countries that were really leading in the tech arena. But as somebody that had started visiting Ghana, I knew that there were, entrepreneurs and ecosystem builders and hubs and innovation spaces and new technologies in mobile that were happening in Ghana, but I wasn't seeing them in these conversations. So that's when I noticed the gap in the market and decided to create an event that would focus on Ghana's tech ecosystem. And as fate would have it, the CEO of the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce that had just started at that time, now we're in 2017, he reached out to me and happened to be a subscriber to my newsletter. And he said, do you want to meet? Let's have a conversation. When I went to go and see him, I told him about my idea for Tech in Ghana and why I had this idea. And he loved it. So it was this, I guess, partnership between myself and him at the time that started Tech in Ghana off. He, as a membership community, had people like the Bank of Ghana and IPMC and Vodafone Ghana and some of the biggest tech companies in his network. I had the experience as somebody in communications and event management and the vision. And we brought those two things together and launched Tech in Ghana in the UK in February 2017. The feedback that I got from the people that attended Tech in Ghana said to me, this is great. You should do an event like this in Ghana because we as an ecosystem don't get together in Ghana. So could you do it there? So in the same year, I launched Tech in Ghana in Accra in November of the same year. And since then, we've been doing that twice a year, every year. Now we're on event number 15, and we're about to go into Kumasi, which is another city in Ghana, under the patronage of the Ashanti King. So obviously, so much has happened in between, but I'll stop there. But that's the story of as to how I launched and started Tech in Ghana.
I think just from your story is already a masterclass. It started from how it was interesting when I was reading your bio. I saw that you do digital, you're in digital world PR. I'm wondering PR, tech, like this is a whole lot of like different things mixed together. And then you have explained it. And I want to just stay on that for the next 2 minutes. I love how you said you're not a tech person, so to say. How did you get into tech? You saw a gap. And you're like, okay, I can work in this gap, and then you started out. But something that I really like and I want the women to hear is where not just that you notice a gap in the market, you sought for partnership. That's something most people don't do because we believe some people feel like when I partner with people and we start making profits, we now start fighting about the money, something would happen, they will steal the idea, X, Y, Z. There's something that someone says that if you have to go far, you have to go with people because if you're going alone, you can't go so far because you're not going to have the time to speak to different people. But if you're going with someone, if you know 10 person as one person, if you're two, people know 20. So I really like the fact that you mentioned that you partnered with someone. Something else you mentioned was also knowing how to break into markets. You said you started out you did the first one in UK, if I remember correctly, and then you took it to Ghana. That's also important because at times when we start something, we don't know how to move from where we have started into the next place. But something that I really particularly admire that I also want women to listen to is she said she did it in Ghana the same year. At times when we have an idea, we think we want to take 200 years to build the idea. Every day you're changing the idea, you want it to be perfect, you want it to be excellent. But you did a program in a year, and that same year you decided that it is time to move it to another place. What am I saying is, women, I want you to listen. If you're doing business, you have to fail fast. You have to try. You don't have to stay and keep changing things and waiting for perfection. And then the last thing you said, as I said, all your talk, it's just a masterclass. Consistency. You said people have, this is like the 15th one. So since then till now, you have gone on to make it it means that you are really a hardworking woman. So in giving flowers, since we are all women here, we give you your flowers. Well done. Great job. And thank you for also wanting to expand to the northern region. Well done, Akosua. We are going to go to Wanju. I'm particularly interested in you because we have quite a wide range of women in the food industry in Impact Hub. So I know they want to hear you. How did you turn potato? Right now I love potato, right? How did you turn potato into, use potato to be who you are today? How did you grow, expand, and be the wedge pot you are and known everywhere?
All right, thank you, Chinelu, for this opportunity, and IgniteHER for giving us this platform to just share our story. So my name is Wanjiru Mambo from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. And my business, Wedge Hut, we are in potato value addition. And to specify, because of the people from the West, it's Irish potato, not the sweet potato. And what we do is we supply a ready-to-cook potato to the hospitality industry. That's to hotels, restaurants, schools, for home use. And you're making work easier for cooking so that you don't have to, do the peeling and the dirty work. So while my journey started, it's a default and a space I never imagined I'll ever be. It was after COVID. I had a restaurant that closed down. We opened it in 2019. 2020, when COVID, at the height of COVID, we had to shut down. And we were 3 partners. So we agreed, let's share whatever we have in stock. We have meats, we have drinks, we have dry foods, just anything we have in the restaurant, because we don't know for how long you'll be closed. And also these are things that we can use in our household. Remember that time everyone was also panic shopping to keep food in their household. So I happened to have 4 sacks of potatoes that had been brought to me from a region called Nakuru, I think a 2-hour drive from Nairobi, and it's a region known for potatoes. And because I had a truck, it was the easiest for me to carry. So when I went to them, the question was, then I can't consume 4 sacks of potatoes in my household. They're just 4 of us. What else do I do? As I said, people were panic shopping just to stock up food. I started selling them at my estate, where I'll just put the truck there, measure the potatoes in let's say buckets, and just dispose of. Funny thing, it worked very well, and it became so exciting. We have no business to run, so this can be another business. And as much as everything was shut down, people have to continue eating. So I'll go to a nearby place, just keep sourcing potatoes. And I did this for, let's say, 4 to 5 times. And that's the moment it occurred to me, the shelf life of potatoes is not very long. How else can we increase the shelf life? Who can consume in the urban centers? Because when you go to the farmers, they're really frustrated. They even don't know, where do we take them? If you have a bulk or a bumper harvest, then what do you do with these potatoes? It got me into a lot of research. My background is in marketing and accounting, but having done many businesses before then, as you always do a market research, so just engaging with people, understanding how the market of potatoes is performing in Kenya. And I realized it's a very niche market, and the way the world is moving, people want to have an easy time in prepping food or getting food ready. And if you see in the Western side, in Europe, and I think Kosoa in London, you can confirm this, there's a lot of ready to cook food. People don't have the time and the luxury to keep preparing food. You're avoiding the dirt and all that. So it's a very niche market. And that's how we decided when COVID is over in 2021, we shall start this business. What I believe in is starting small and where we are. We started processing from 300 kilos a day, and we had a few clients here and there. But then it has grown over the 5 years. We are processing over 3,000 kilos or 3 tons a day, serving a very diverse clients of hotels, restaurants, and some of the big hotels known, the 5-star hotels, the multinational restaurants in Kenya. And one of the things I say, beyond just supplying potato and doing business, is the impact it brings to our farmers. As I went to do the sourcing of these potatoes, I've realized our farmers are very frustrated, yet they have a chance to produce so much more. If you give them the market, if they can find the value, they're willing to put in the effort. So how do we, as women in Africa and in the food space, give that value to our farmers? So that's what keeps me going, that behind every potato, there's a story. And as you said, my tagline is spreading happiness one potato at a time, both to our farmers and to our consumers. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is so interesting. I think you have said some things that Akosua said, or you have some things in common where you said, again, it's not just that you sat down and say, oh, I want to start a potato business. You saw a gap, you saw a problem, and you started asking yourself, how do I solve the problem? And it's just from that question that you are where you are today. I want to say something. There's this quote we all hear that curiosity kills the cat. So in fact, how women, curiosity will not kill you. Curiosity kills only the cats, not humans. Be curious. I believe that when you are curious, you can go so far. Like imagine, COVID was a time where most of us were saying, oh, let's go. I'm talking about myself. So I'm like, thank God this COVID has come. Nobody is going to work. Let me go and rest. And while some of us were resting, like because of the lockdown, people were seeing opportunities. And today, that opportunity is now a blossoming business. Doing 3,000 kilos a day is no small feat. So again, your flowers, well done. Again, women, remember, curiosity kills only the cat and not humans. Be curious. And then she said something, that's where you are. Most of you, when we have platforms or you go to platforms and you hear women talking, you tell yourself, oh, it's because they are big. Oh, Akosua is from UK. Oh, Akiwe is strong. Oh, Wanjiri is. You start looking for excuses to make it look like they have a reason to succeed, which you do not have. But the thing is that it all started somewhere. You to start somewhere. Don't be looking. Start so that the next year IgniteHER will invite you to be a finalist. Anywho, let's go back to Happy Way. So when I saw this question on the document, I said I'm going to ask it another way. Every time when women do something in male-dominated industries, we keep asking them, oh, what are the challenges they face? And also, my question, I'm going to reword it. Do you really think that when people say, oh, there's a challenge when you're a woman in a male-dominated industry, is it true? Or do you think that people say it as a way to just believe that, oh, or as an excuse not to go out and be who they need to be? Or you think truly, because you're a woman now, like you have an experience firsthand, truly, do you think there is a gap being a woman in your industry? Or you think it's a thing of the mind?
Yeah, no, I'm sure the question was phrased like, how does it feel being a woman in the male-dominated industry, which is actually a question that gets asked quite a lot, and I'm not a fan of the question. I think, thank you for rephrasing it, because I mean, it should not be any different. So I consider myself a brewer or a brewmaster who so happens to be female and who so happens to be Black. But at the end of the day, I want to be judged by the quality of the products that I make and the quality of the work that I do. So I'm a brewer first, and the other stuff that comes along. But at the same time, I'm not one to shy away from the fact that I am Black. And I am woman, because in South Africa, actually, those who know of some of the struggles of South Africa, it's I'm a double barrier where the industry is so male and also very white dominated, and it has been quite difficult to break the barriers. And I think for me, being being the first woman in South Africa to have started a brewery in 2025. The business was a 2019 business, but even then, to have being the first Black person, a Black woman, to do this in the 21st century in Africa, when we are Africans, for me, it's something that always kind of like pains me a bit. And because it should be a norm, we should not be celebrating first, not in this time. But also, we should also be mindful of the fact that, and appreciative of the fact that we managed to break barriers that existed for women before us. So there's something that shifted. And I think that's one of the reasons why, for me, with the academy and I've just decided that I will then be that person that brings about the change. I don't want to die being the first and the last. So I train women to become brewmasters, so that it doesn't end with me, and create a path for other people to learn from my mistakes, to learn from my struggles, so that it becomes a little bit easier for them. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% easy, but it becomes a little bit easier because, even with me, the people that tried before me, and for whatever reasons, they couldn't succeed. So when I came in, there were things that were a little bit easier because some people had kind of laid the path. And I believe that, it's up to all of us to try within our spaces to bring about the change that we want to see, and become that bearer of and hold that baton to the next generation. So to answer your question, it is not easy, but it is not possible. Impossible. It is very much possible, and it should become a norm. And I think one of the things I want to achieve in my lifetime is to make that a norm.
Awesome. Thank you so much. As you were speaking, I remember that we did forget to mention, very important, she's actually the first woman in South Africa to own a brewery. It's not easy. Please, ladies, a round of applause. You have done what it's not easy to do. So you should take your flowers. Well done, Akiwe. You are really doing great. I like when she said that. First of all, I don't know where I heard this. It seems I hear a lot these days, that the best way to know who you are, or the best way to shine, is to remind yourself of who you are. When she said she's a human, first of all, before being a female, and then she's Black. is her identity. It is good to remember who you are, and then from there you can branch out into things. And yes, like she said, it's not been easy. I keep repeating what they have said so that people will hear it well, so that it will enter your ears, that it's not easy. But something she said that really makes sense is that she's doing this not just because she wants to make money from jewelry, but she wants to hold the pattern for other people that are going to come after her. Some of you, when you start things, and that's why it doesn't grow, you start it selfishly. You start it just because you want to make money. You start it because you want to be a billionaire and pepper Chinelo, and I can't be peppered, right? So, but when you have a bigger goal, something that really, really impacts others, you see that you grow. So, well done, and you are doing great. So, I'm going to go to Apostle, and now we are going to enter into the real gist, right? You all have done great things. You're doing marvelous. But let's calm down. Where you are today, what are the challenges that you have faced? I know that people, I believe you, all three of you are married. I believe so. What are the challenges, real challenges you have faced in life? Like, I mean, as you go through seasons, from when you started your business to when it became a thing, because as you grow in business, this question is for everybody. Apostle will just start, and then Wanjira will come back to Apile. As you grow in business, the challenges you faced when you started out to when you're scaling are not the same. So tell us not just your business challenges, but also personal challenges you have faced and you had to conquer. I know you can't tell us all, but the most critical ones that really shaped you. Apostle, you can please start.
Yeah. So I'm a really big believer in pain being a catalyst to purpose, right? The whole reason why I started focusing on Africa was because of my mother's death. It was the shock of her death, and it was the pain that I went through that put me in a position to stop, think, reassess, and decide on another path for myself and my life, right? So when there is pain, I truly believe that somewhere inside there is a silver lining. And I think that being the catalyst to me coming to Africa in the first place has been what has anchored me as I've faced challenges along the way. And they've come in different shapes and forms. It was very, very difficult. I remember around 2020, yes, everybody was dealing with COVID, but I also had my first child at that time, and having a baby in the middle of COVID and having to maintain an event that had built its credibility. How was I going to sustain that, right? Firstly, we had to, for the first time, bring the event online. That was the only year actually that we were exclusively online. But then also having this small child that I had to look after at the same time. And it was extremely challenging for me to sit and have to, figure out how to be a mom, a first-time mom, and, continue with this brand that I was so passionate about. And I think that, that's why when you take it back to the beginning, you were saying, I just want to touch back on what you were saying earlier about, the challenges of like being a woman or what have you. And I say that because it's only in hindsight I'm able to look back and say, okay, there were moments actually where I wasn't taken seriously, right, by certain individuals who, I remember being invited to a meeting by a gentleman who I thought was really passionate about tech in Ghana, only for him to tell me that, come on, I didn't invite you here for that reason. But I was so anchored in my purpose that I was very dismissed. I was very like, oh, wrong person, let me keep it moving. So it's the same when I had my baby. It was like, okay, I've got the baby, I've got to be a mother, but I've got to keep it moving. So if you're so anchored in your purpose, it's almost magical the way you're able to just overcome whatever may come your way on whatever level that it might come your way. So, and it's also about, not wanting to try to be, validated by anybody, right? It's like, I'm not doing this for validation. You're doing this for a reason. So you end up just trying to, reach out to and attract, like your tribe. But anyway, I went off course a little bit there. So the the challenges that I've had have ranged, right? It was very a lonely period to come to Ghana, although I had family here, but there were also, you know, what did I leave behind? A lot of my friends, a lot of my my network that I had already built. It didn't matter that I was an award-winning journalist. It didn't matter that I had made all of these accolades in the UK. I had to start all over again. Those things did not matter. You had to build your own validation and network through authentic relationships, having to actually go and meet the ecosystem builders, going to meet the entrepreneurs, having to learn about things like I remember there was a time where people started talking to me about private equity and you know, VCs and funding. And I was like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. Having to humble myself and learn what these things are, being in conversations, knowing when to be quiet and listen and be a student versus trying to pretend that you know everything, right? So personally, there was a lot of growth that I had to kind of go through. And even to this day, you know, I say to people, I was literally having a conversation with one of our team members yesterday, to this day, being able to ensure that you can remain being a student along the way and knowing that it's okay to not know at certain points and being able to allow yourself to learn and to give yourself grace when you maybe make mistakes along the way, right? So I think that there's a lot of personal growth that comes with kind of building a brand or a business, and that grace has to come from yourself. The last challenge I would say is, for me, Tech in Ghana is periodic. Like, for example, we've got Tech in Ghana coming up in December. It's a big one. It's a royal edition. Everybody's buzzing and, you know, your phone is ringing and you've got all of these meetings happening. It's great. Come February, it's going to go quiet. And I still have to have the same vim and the same passion for what I'm doing without the applause and without the attention. So being able to stay on track, even when you haven't got 101 people clapping for you, is another, I would say, kind of skill that you need to hone and know that, you know, there are going to be times where you're going to feel like you're on your own and you need to figure out how to navigate through those moments.
This is powerful. This truly has a watch value. I mean, I'm going to summarize this at the end of the day for everybody. Something you said about learning lifelong, like keep learning. When I was coming to the office today, I entered an Uber. He apparently started doing the Uber business too, so he didn't know how to follow the map, and he kept going to different places. And it just occurred to me. I told him, okay, since you can't follow the map, give me your phone. Let me help you. And when he gave me his phone, I found out that, in fact, he did not even start the map because he did not know how to start it. So I now started the map for him and taught him how to do it. And that's when he opened up to say that, oh, he's just starting bold and all. And I told him, same thing you said, that the truth is that we all learn on the job. There's nobody that starts a job, a business, and knows everything. You have to be humble enough to say when you don't know something and be humble to learn. I mean, today, the good thing is, whether I feel like, oh, he doesn't know how to use the map, or I feel anyhow, the truth is he has known how to use the map today, and it makes him better. So we learn on the job. So if there's anything you don't know, women, know that you learn on the job. Don't feel afraid. Don't feel like, I mean, you don't have all it takes. You start. One day you learn, and then you get better. Thank you so much, Actor Soa. Wanjiru, same question to you. What are the personal, and I want you to, when you're speaking about your challenges, I also want you to speak about the challenges you faced scaling, because obviously when you were selling during COVID-19, when it was just you trying for your potatoes not to get bad, the challenges you faced then versus when you said, let this be a real business, are not the same. So speak about, first of all, your business challenges, mainly because, like I said, we have a lot of food entrepreneurs here, and then to go over to personal challenges.
Yeah, like the rest have said, it's not easy running a business. And I've been asking people who've done business for 10 to 15 years, how is it now? Do you feel like you've gotten there, you're enjoying? And they say the dynamics of being in business, they change every other day. But what helps you is because you've evolved as a person. So the challenges you face, let's say, at the beginning of starting your business, they won't have the same pressure, or they won't disorganize you or throw you off balance. You're more wiser to handle any challenges you get. So from my end, I think one of the biggest challenges I had, this was back in 2023. Remember, I started a business after COVID. The hospitality space had really gone down, or rather collapsed. And at that time, the market is coming up. The potato prices I was buying were very cheap. Actually, when farmers were throwing away potatoes, and the prices were very low. I remember one of the people who used to sell to me, and he was a middleman, and I'll come to that. He would tell me I'm complaining, but it's because I didn't know the real how the potato market is, because I've come after COVID. And the potato prices continued rising and rising, and it was so hard for me to keep up with that. On the other hand, I'm a good salesperson. You've opened up this business, you're serving clients, you're happy because you have the revenue. But I didn't have good and strong systems to sustain that growth. I didn't have a proper, even accounting system, and that's one of the greatest lessons to sustain our growth, our reconciliations, our collection, and all that. So in 2023, I remember it was my birthday month. That was in March. And I was featured in one of the national newspapers as a woman changing the narrative of potatoes and changing the landscape of agribusiness and food processing. By that time, things were so bad, we had to shut down. And that's the first time ever of my business that we have had to shut down the business. What I did, I told my team, this business has to work, and we have to figure out how it's going to work. Let's regroup and see where did we go wrong, and can we start again? And one of the things we did, number one, we realized our sourcing was very bad. We can't depend on middlemen to sustain our supply chain. We have to go to the ground and do all the dirty job. We have to connect with the farmers who sustain our potatoes and who are able to give us a chance to continue scaling in terms of sales and revenue. On the other hand, our systems are not working. What do we do about it? We have to tighten. If you're taking longer, farmers need to be paid in cash, but our clients want to pay us in 30 or 60 days. So if you're paying us in 60 days, you're affecting our cash flows. And what results to that in most businesses, we end up going to even borrow money to sustain the orders. But when you do your calculation, the net is very bad because of also the cost of borrowing and the cost of money. So for me, that was a turning point for my business. We closed the business for 10 days. And I remember actually my husband asking me, are you sure this is not suicide for your business? And it might be so hard for you to come back because you're telling your client, I'm not able to supply you because of ABCD. But it costed us one major client. They felt we didn't have the right capacity to sustain their future orders. We didn't have structures. Also, we don't have the financial muscle. And I don't want to say because my biggest competitor that all this business moved to, it's a niche market and very male dominated. And I don't know whether it's because I was a young woman in that case, but that one was my turning point. And I say, this is a huge business, 60% of our sales gone, but I will never go back to this space again. I have to make it work. And we did a lot of partnerships, empowerment of farmers, training. You're always at the grassroots, just connecting with the farmers. And one of the things I feel that gave me an edge is actually being a woman. I really connected well with farmers. As you do training, I used to check the room around, and you'll find 80% of the people who show up for these trainings are actually men. So where are the women? And the few women that attend those meetings for training, they are very curious. They want to know, what do we do? And I would also ask them, what can we do to increase the number of women farmers that we have? One of the things I believe from our traditional time, when men were gatherers, women were nurturers. They were actually left at home to nurture farms. And if they have been taught how to do it best, they are the best people to give us very good value. And we also discovered the reason they don't show up for trainings, they're at home maybe taking care of their kids, they had to do a few things. but in the afternoon, they could be available. So we changed our way of training them, and you go and meet them in the afternoon. That's, I believe some people know how women do table bankings, and they will do them in the afternoon, and you meet them there. And also, we have seen a very increased growth of the women who are our suppliers, and they're able to sustain us. Let's say last year you planted 3 or 5 acres. This year you want to plant more, and you're pulling other people. So that was my biggest business challenge that I faced. And also it comes down to how it comes also to access to finance. It can sometimes become so overwhelming for a woman, but I believe there's also a reason we are women, and you'll see in Africa, there are so many opportunities opening up to support women and in food processing. So I'll encourage everyone to tap into that. I have been very deliberate around that. I think 65% of even my employees are women, and I've seen that change the narrative. I'll just tell something little about the personal challenges we face as doing into business. It's hard being a mother, a wife, and all those titles. And at the end of the day, you have a business to run. There are days I'm about to leave the house and my 3-year-old child is unwell. So do I rush for the meeting or do I attend to him? It's across, it's a space that leaves women, you're just torn apart. What do I do? One of my mentors taught me the analogy of you're holding a glass ball and a rubber ball. If you drop the glass ball, it breaks and shatters. A rubber ball can bounce back. So I believe for women, there's nothing like work-life balance. It's just finding harmony and just knowing what season are you at and what are you willing to, what is your glass ball at that point. Even in seasons of parenthood, there's a season where kids are very delicate. And there's also in your business where it's delicate and need a lot of hand-holding. So always decide which is my rubber ball, which is my glass ball, and what season am I at, so that I know how to manage both of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think the rubber and the glass cup analogy makes a lot of sense. And when you said there's no work-life balance for women, it was just so funny. But I know that that's the reality of a lot of people. But it makes sense that instead of you to look for a one-size-fits-all approach, you be flexible and ask yourself, with this particular situation, what is glass and what is like the rubber band, and you make a decision. I think that's really great. There are a lot of things you said, but just so that I don't spend time talking, I'm going to go back to them when I am doing the general feedback of the session. So Happy, we are going to go over to you. So what I want to ask before we go into the question session, so ladies, it's also time for us to ask questions. What I want to do is let's use the remaining time to have questions from people real time, right? But before I go into that, ladies, you can keep your question, and then if you want to ask live, you can raise your hand. Anyway, I want to ask, right? You have talked about, how you started your business, things that have happened to you and all. How do you approach growth? Right now, why am I asking this? You're the first person that has started this in South Africa, so you are the standard. And at times, when you are the standard, it is hard for you to know whether, like when Apostle was saying, when no one is clapping for you, how to stand. You don't know when you're doing SWOT analysis. Who are you competing against? You are the standard, so it's hard for you to know. Okay, who am I looking up to? Who is helping me? So how have you been able to approach growth, being that you are the first, with no colleagues to help you?
Yeah. So the one of the mistakes that sometimes I feel we make, before I answer your question, is that we tend to compare ourselves, like when we draft our who our competitors are and all that, as we do our business plans, and we list all these multinationals as our competitors. So I personally have tried to really shy away from that. I am not competing with Heineken. I am not competing with South African breweries, because these businesses have been around for 100 years. They have tried and tested, they have failed and found a winning formula. I'm just starting out. So I just say, I'll drive my minivan that probably breaks along the way and has no spare wheel and let the BMWs and the Mercedes pass me because we are on different races. We are running different races. And as such, I can't compete with them. I can look up to them and see what they're doing that has worked. And one of the things I've also actually I follow all of the big brands on all the social media platforms. I read their financial reports so that I kind of understand where are they, because obviously we look up to. I love to build a brand that would last 100 years and leave me so that my grandkids can one day say my grandmother started this self-funded with no external help and she was able to sustain it such that so I think it's very important that as we try and build our own businesses, we look up to people that have walked the path before us, and it can be also not the same industry, because if you look at manufacturing in general, whatever you're manufacturing, it's the same struggles. We all kind of fight the same things. So learning and seeing and watching and attending such sessions where you learn from people that are not even within your industry, because as humans we all fight the same. We have the same struggles, and as Africans we have the same struggles. So listening to how other people have been able to do it and survive. I mean, I went through COVID. I don't want to go through my COVID story because otherwise I was going to break down and cry. But we as women, we like built from a different cloth, as people will say. We are very strong. We raise kids, we raise families, we raise communities, and I think it's time that we also raise businesses and create the next generation of businesses in Africa that will survive 100 years.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I think you're a very self-aware person. It takes a lot of self-awareness to say, oh, you're not competing with anybody. You know who you are. You're going to work on your pace. So that's actually a very great thing to say. Someone said it here that no comparison is depressing, and I agree. So yeah, better to stay motivated than to compare. I think there's Ifoma here. I don't think that what you wrote is what Wanjiru said. So I'm going to recap. Someone said the glass is the family, the rubber is the business. I'm not sure that's what she said. I think she said we should determine what is our glass and what our rubber in situations. I think that's what you said, right? Because I believe that there are some days where your family is the rubber. So don't make people feel like, I'm sure she's not saying you should choose your business over your family. She just said, depending on the situation, think about it. So she did not specify what is the glass and what is the rubber.
Hi, Chinelo. Please let's slow it down a bit so that those translating in French can get us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right. Sorry, I didn't see the text. Okay, so sorry, my French people. We're going to go a bit slower. I'm looking for the questions. Sorry. Okay, so while I'm looking at it, so I think the first thing is, let me unmute someone to ask. You all remember what I said in the first class? Before you ask a question, think about it very well. Don't just come and ask questions you can find the answer anywhere. This is a one-time opportunity. It's not every day you meet such powerful people in your room. So before I unmute you, please, I beg you in the name of God, think about your question well and ask something that will benefit you as a person and also others. I'm going to start with, I love how the French people are very, very interactive in this class. I love it. So for that, I'm going to start with the French person, Francois. I'm going to allow you to speak. You can unmute and speak, please. Francois, you there? You can unmute and speak. Hey, my French people, after I finish hyping you guys, two people want to, okay, let me take someone else. There's Lydia. Lydia, you can unmute and speak, please. If you don't want to speak, don't raise your hand though. I'm a big person, don't used to embarrass me in public. Why are people doing this to me? Okay, let me do Nene. Nene, you can ask to unmute. Tu ne vois pas le micro. Le micro est là. Okay. Nene, you can go ahead, please. We can't hear you yet. We see you, but we can't hear you. Is it just me? People are saying she's speaking, but I can't hear.
Hello,
Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, good morning from the Gambia. I'm so happy to be here, and these stories are really inspiring. Okay, I am a small business. I just started my business this year. I'm into baby food processing. I've attended a couple of conferences here and there, but I just wanted to know from the start, do you really need a team, like maybe advisors, those kind of people that will be in the background? Like, for example, I'm into baby food. Do I really need a team, or I can just go alone for a little bit?
You're into what? I didn't hear what you said you're into.
Baby food processing.
Baby
I'm
food.
processing I'm processing baby food using local ingredients that are available in the Gambia.
All right. So just so that we are going to be fast, wondering, can you answer that for us? Can you take that since it's the same industry?
All right, Nene, that's a very interesting product line. And one of the products you're working on in the potato space is to have a ready-to-eat mash that is made specially for the babies. And to answer your question, you can't do it alone. And you need to know what is your specialty, what's your background. Personally, I'm an accountant and a marketer. That's what I've practiced over the years. Food is not my thing. Agriculture is not my thing. What I did from the onset, you get a team, either people who have been in a similar space so they can hold your hand. But remember, always have your goal in mind so that you don't come to implement someone else's goal. If you bring like my employees, the first employees I started with some have been working in similar spaces. And I realized they keep telling me in that other side, this is how we used to do things. But then it occurred to me, I have to create my own way of doing things. So you can't do it alone. In terms of hand-holding and professionals that you need, I believe as a startup, and this is one of the mistakes, initially I paid many consultants to help me with my scaling, optimizing of my operations, coming up with my SOPs, my strategy, and all that. But over time, I've realized there are many spaces or capacity building programs that give you that. If you don't have the financial muscle, and even myself, that was it was strenuous. If I knew what I know now, I'll have gone for that option. Look out for opportunities around you. There are many accelerator programs that are helping women to scale their business. They can help you put up your strategy, your pitch decks. If you want to raise funds, there's an organization, it's an NGO from the US called Partners in Food Solutions. They support you in formulations, in optimizing your efficiency in the food production and creating a food management system. So you can't do it alone. Look out for a community that help you to grow. With that, you accelerate your growth faster.
Thank you so much. Esther said someone in the comment section. It is said that if you get stuck, then you must either know what to do you must either know what to do, who can do it, or who to call. That's such a great skill. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to take one person. Lydia, are you ready to speak? Let me know before I allow you to speak. Lorita, I have told you before, so let's do Sibongile. Sorry if I'm murdering your name. Please forgive me. If I didn't pronounce it correctly, when you speak, you can let me know the right way to pronounce. Please go ahead.
Hi, I hope you can hear me and you did say it correctly. My name is Bongile. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. And I think my question is slightly on the personal side, so anybody can take it. I find that when things are going good, I often tend to struggle with imposter syndrome. And I want to know if any of the ladies have struggled with it and what they have done to sort of overcome that.
All right, thank you so much. Apostle, can you take that, please? She says when she's doing well, she struggles with imposter syndrome. So how can she overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, we absolutely all go through it, I'm sure, or have been through it at some point, if not in this business, at some point in our lives. It's normal, it's natural. I think it's for us to accept that these feelings will come. I think what the skill is recognizing what it is and watching it come and go and remembering why you're in the room that you're in, right? So if you just, I believe a lot of it is personal development, right? There's a lot of time that you need to spend on yourself to build your own confidence. Confidence comes from consistency, it comes from authenticity, it comes from you knowing what it is that you want to do. Because sometimes you can be in a room and that imposter syndrome actually comes from other people, or sometimes being around people that you think are your supporters but are actually like planting seeds of doubt. So be very mindful as to like how you're feeding your own mental space. And I'm somebody who goes to the gym a lot, right? If you want to build your body, so we're talking about analogies, you go to the gym on a regular basis. Eventually you start getting fit. I believe the same with our mindset. You've got to really be feeding yourself with positive information. You need to be ensuring that what you are consuming each day, each morning, is putting you in a state of calm, and recognizing that you do have value. You do deserve to be in any room that you go into, but also understanding that you're human, right? You're going to have those moments where you're going to feel like you're out of your depth, or you're going to feel like you're not meant to be here. It's natural, it's normal, it's there for all of us. But I think the way that I've worked on that is by building my own self in my own time, in my own private moments. And then when I find myself in those spaces, I'm able to soothe myself internally, mentally, quietly, to then continue and essentially override what I'm doing there. And it goes back to what we were saying before. When you are anchored in your focus and your purpose, what are you there for? You take yourself out of the reason that you're there. Like, it's not about you, you're there for a bigger purpose. And then it becomes less about you, more about your mission. And then you kind of are able to override, whatever kind of personal imposter syndrome that comes your way. But to be honest, up to this day, I think it's still something that just doesn't. I don't know why it's there. I think it's some kind of protection that our mind tries to give us. I don't know what it is. But the key is in recognizing it, managing it, soothing it, and then continuing on with your day. That's how I do it anyway.
Thank you. I like the first one, recognizing, because what you don't know, you cannot solve. So it makes sense that you know exactly what it is, and then you can look for how to solve it. Thank you so much. Akiwe, I'm going to ask you this. This is from Zoom. I can't remember the name of the person that asked it. My apologies. The person said, I'm currently building a registered wellness tea brand. I have done product testing and received positive feedback, but haven't launched yet due to lack of funding. I've been applying for grants without success so far, and now I'm at a crossroads. So should I keep focusing on grants or start actively looking for a co-founder to partner with? What would you advise for a founder at this stage? Tafiwe still on the call. I can't see her. Okay, I
Yes,
can see
still.
her.
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, you're gonna have to start. And I think everyone talks about you have to start. You can't, no one is gonna give you money if it can look good on paper, it can make sense on paper, but no one's going to give you money if you haven't put in the work yourself. So you have to put in the work. You need to put the sacrifice yourself, and start and get the brand going, and also test the market, because sometimes we believe that because it's our own idea and it's our own product, and we founded it, that you believe that it's the best thing since they made bread. But if you don't actually go out there and test the market and see what do people like about this product and get people's feedback so that you can refine the product and refine even like how it looks, how it tastes, you might find that maybe the taste that you're going for now is not what consumers are looking for. It's not what the market wants. And you might find that you launch a product, but then the market that you think you're making this product for is not ready for the product. Then you have to shift, because as an entrepreneur, you have to be flexible enough to not be so rigid on, say, if my business plan says this 1, 2, 3, it's gonna work like that. It's not gonna work like that most times. You're gonna have to be able to be flexible to adapt to the changes, and you can only learn that if you started. So if it's still an idea stage, you'll never get to know how really it's going to go, and no one is going to give you their money if you haven't started.
Awesome, thank you so much for that. So to the person that actually is trying to say, yes, you don't have grants, and maybe you're looking for a co-founder right now, is know what you should do, or you should start. Why? There's someone that I don't know who has said it. Again, I hear a lot of things, and it's hard for me to remember who said what. But that you cannot want people to invest in a business you have not invested in. So you cannot be looking for anybody to give you handouts. Yes, there are seed stage funding, but it works better when you start. You could another way of funding, in case people have forgotten, is family and friends, right? So if your family and friends they don't give you money, you shouldn't expect any of us to give you money, because if they don't believe in you, we can't believe in you. So basically, just to her point is start from where. So one of the speakers here said start from where you are today. I think it was Wanjiri that said it. So start from where you are. Invest. Start. Apiwe also said that if you don't start, you cannot get feedback. You cannot know if they don't like what you're producing and all. So you cannot first of all get grants, and then when you get grants, you now start and see that we don't like your tea. Then you would have wasted the people that have given you money. So start with your own money, count your losses, make your mistakes, and then continue from there. All right, I'm going to, please, the French people, I really want to ensure that we're as inclusive as possible. If you're French and you have your hands up, let me know. I don't want to unmute you and you don't ask. Tendai, are you French? I don't know now. Please, the interpreter or someone, tell me who are the French people. I don't want to hear Chinelo did not call the French people. She called only the English. She doesn't like them. Okay, Uli, your name sounds French. I'm not sure, but I'm going to allow you to speak.
We have someone here with French question in the
Hello?
question and answer
Okay.
session.
I think Uli is a French
Oui,
person.
oui, moi.
Oui,
Bonjour.
Go ahead.
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Je suis Ouli de Côte d'Ivoire.
D'accord. She said she's Uli from Côte d'Ivoire. Donc, il faut aller doucement. Là, je peux interpréter pour vous.
D'accord. Alors, ma question, c'est pour tous les trois dames.
Non, tu dois demander à une, pas les trois.
D'accord. Ben, en fait, toutes les trois peuvent répondre. Alors, moi, je veux savoir, au stade où elles sont arrivées dans leur société, là, dans leur entreprise, qu'est-ce qui les a permis de tenir jusqu'ici? Est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose qui les a motivées profondément?
OK. C'est tout?
Et l'autre question, c'était de savoir quels conseils elles ont à donner à toutes les femmes qui sont sur cette plateforme qui veulent prendre le même chemin qu'elles.
OK.
Voilà.
Merci. All right. So her question is actually the final question, but I'm going to ask it now, but you people don't need to respond because that's how we wrap up. Her last question was, what is the advice you people want to give to women so that they can follow the path you have followed, or women who admire you and want to be like you? But that's how we end this, so we can have that at the end. But her other question was, the first question, now what are the challenges? I'm not sure. I think I have skipped. Sorry, Uli, try toujours là. Il faut répéter la première question.
Oui, je demandais qu'est-ce qui les a permis de tenir jusqu'ici.
D'accord. Okay, so the first one was, what has permitted you to stay till now? I know that Apostle has answered that because she said find your purpose. So I think I'm going to ask Wanjiru, what has grounded you, or what has kept you grounded? That's her first question.
I would say I'll mention a few things that keep me grounded. And number one is, what has been my purpose? Or what do I want to achieve? What is that drives me, or the goal that keeps me burning? It gets hard at times. It's even lonely up there, but you have to find that deeper purpose that keeps you going every other day. The other things is, you have to build systems for your business to sustain growth. And remember, what brought you to this stage might not be the same systems that will take you to the next space. Same to people. You have to train people. There are people who have been with you till this season, but are they the same people that will take you to the next season? So you need to also check on your people, invest in them, train them, and just make sure you're all aligned. They know where the company wants to go. The other thing, and funny thing, it was also mentioned by Dr. Vumile in the other session. I always say you need to create a personal board of directors. These are the people who know you and your values, and they keep you grounded. When things are good, when things are tough, these are people who keep you grounded. And she gave examples of have your mentor, your sponsor, your tribe, your accountability partner, someone who even makes you have fun so that you forget some of the pressures you have of this life. So choose your personal board of directors wisely. This is a community of people who keep you grounded. And the other thing for business, and especially for women, numbers, numbers, numbers. If you want to excel, please get to know your numbers. I personally also don't like the aspect of numbers, but the last 1 year, I've been very, very deliberate to understand my numbers in depth. What are my margins? What's my net profit? What is an investor looking at? If you're saying, what can you trade and say, I have done this and this? I may not be making even profits, but is there progress? Can I say I reduce my cost of sales, my cost of capital? If you get to know your numbers, you're able to have more informed decision. And as the owner of the business, you have to own it. Don't depend on only your accountant giving you the figures. Please get to it. Even if you have to get somebody else, a consultant who is more closer to you to help you understand the numbers. Not all of us went to accounting school. Personally, I did accounting. I've never practiced, but I thank God for that small knowledge. But I have been so deliberate just to know how my business is doing, and it informs every decision. So for me, those are the key things that have sustained my business.
Awesome, thank you so much for that. Someone on the comments, Samira pointed something very important, and I would like to deeply apologize for it, that people have questions in the Q&A session that I did not look at. Actually, we were all meant to put questions on the Q&A session, not the comment session, and my bad, I totally missed that. I've not been on Zoom for a while. So please, for this session and other sessions, please use the Q&A session. And for the people that I ignored on the Q&A session, my apologies. It was that oversight. Do not murder me, please. We are learning along the way. I mean, having said that, we can also not take all questions, so permit me. I'm going to read one question that I got. Please, when I look at my phone, before people think I'm reading people's questions, remember that there are YouTube people, there are other where we are streaming. So I'm looking at my phone because I'm also being sent questions from people that are not on Zoom. So don't think that I'm like there's a preference thing, I'm choosing some people over the next or over the others. This is from a French person from Haiti. Her name is Annabelle. She says I'm directly translating it to English because it's in French. She's a founder, and she does things related to hair. Her question is, if you, so let me direct that to Akoso, and then the next one will be to Akiwe. if you can go back in time, right? What are the things you think you would do differently? Or do you think you would repeat things exactly how you have done them? That's the question. So if you can go back in time, will you do things differently, or you would still take the same path, basically?
I would absolutely take the same path, only because in hindsight, I could not get to step 2 without doing step 1. I couldn't get to step 5 without doing step 4. So what you come to learn is that every obstacle, every moment of challenge, every single thing that you go through is meant to build your character. If you were given, there's some of you saying that you have this business, you have that business. If we were to give you today the money you're asking for and to give you all of the resources that you could ever want to build your business, you probably still wouldn't be able to run the business over the next week because of, and I'm sure these ladies who are running, real brick and mortar businesses will tell you that the lessons that you've learned along the way is what actually remains as the foundation for you to do what you're doing today. Tech in Ghana is on number 16, the 16th edition. If I was given the opportunity to go to the King's Palace on my 2nd edition, it would be a nightmare, because it's only because of what I've learned over these 10 plus editions that has given me the confidence, the know-how, the understanding, the team, the credibility, all of the things that I need to now go and stand up and have the same event but on a bigger platform. So no, I wouldn't change it. And you've got to trust your journey. Don't be in a rush. There's nothing to rush for. All 3 of us, women on this day, or 4 of us, I would say, women up here, are no different to you. We've all got a different story. You have your own story, right? So don't try to think that you have to mimic the same things that we have done verbatim, because you have your own unique journey. You have your own challenges, triumphs, lessons to learn for what it is that you want to do. So understand that, embrace that, enjoy it. It's a journey as well, right? It's not just about trying to be a winner and trying to succeed. It's actually the journey, because it's your life. You've got one life, right? And this is your time, your effort, your blood, your sweat, your tears. All of these things are sacred, and it's actually a journey along the way that's going to, when you get to the point, because you realize as well, there's no end point. There's no end point. There's no moment we say, oh, wow, we've done it. Right? So understand that it's a journey. So no, I wouldn't change a thing. Every single thing that I've been through, good and bad, I can see today, and I know there's going to be more ahead. Every single thing is divine and meant to be. I truly believe that, and it helps you if you accept that.
All right, thank you so much. We are going to take, I'll ask you 2 questions at the same time. But before that, Akoso, I like how you drop bars calmly. You're just sitting calmly. Not when we go to church and the pastors preach, there's some force, but you drop, I don't know if other countries know more bars, that you drop wisdom calmly. You're just calm, and I'm wondering, wow. And then I remember you have over 20 years of experience. I think it's also about the length of time. At times it takes, that's why your journey is important. You have to, when you get there, people should check back on me the next 10 years. When I was speaking, I stay calmly and I dish advice. But yeah, that was really, really great. Thank you so much. I think I have 2 questions. The first one, someone asked, this was the name of your NGO, and the second one, which you have answered, but just in case people want to know that again. Somebody is saying, if you are at any stage, so this person, the difference between this and the first person, that they have started, right? But they want to know, do you think it's advisable for them to get a loan in the early stage of the business? They have already started the business, but do you think it's advisable that in the early stage you get a loan? And then another person asked the name of your NGO.
Okay, thank you. So the brand is Tolokazi Beer, and then there's the Brewsters Academy, and then it's Brew for Change. That's the nonprofit. And then to answer the other question, you need money, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have trust fund. We're not trust fund babies. We don't have like rich aunts that will give us a. I know you said earlier on that if you don't have family that's gonna give you money, we all come from families that don't have money to give you money. And when you tell them that you want to start your own business, they like, are you crazy? Like, why don't you just go work at the bank and get a salary at the end of the month and not have to stress about life? But I think once the entrepreneurial bug hits you, like there's something that changes in you. You don't see the world the same, you don't see things the same, and most people won't understand your thinking. Most people won't understand why you have to do this to yourself. I mean, I got a loan. My first brewery was actually a government loan, a 10 million rand loan that during COVID, I couldn't repay. They came and repossessed my stuff, my house. So we go through all those things as entrepreneurs, and I think going back, I'll probably to the same question you asked Akaso earlier on. Like I would probably do it again. I'm because everything happens for a reason. I don't believe I'll be where I am today. I don't believe I'll be the person I am today if I didn't go through certain things in life. And you have to take the risks. You have to take the risk. There's no other way, whether it's through a loan, borrowing money, selling your car, realizing that if you don't need to drive that fancy car, you can take that money and you should put it in the business because you're investing in yourself, you're investing in your future, you're investing in the future of your kids. And also, there's so many programs. I think being in Africa today, we there's so much support that I think is there, that exists, that people have to just knock on different doors. Don't get tired of writing that proposal. Don't get tired of submitting yet another application. If you really believe in what you're trying to do, you have to convince other people also. They're not going to come and just give you the money. You have to keep showing up, being in their face, proving that yes, you can do it. I'm currently self-funded after I lost the other money. And I'm also at that phase where, I'm trying to raise, because I've built enough that I can now, when I look at my pitch deck, it makes sense. And I'm like, you know what, if I had done this, if I'd allowed for myself to grow to this point before I made certain decisions in the past, I'll probably be far off now. But we learn, and we learn from our own mistakes, we learn from other people's mistakes, and you just keep on pushing. I did say, if you fail, keep forward. You just keep on waking up and crawling and doing all sorts of things as long as you're moving forward.
Oh, thank you so much. Keep showing up. If you don't show up, nobody will give you money. If you are too big to be in our faces, you'll be broke. We won't give you our money. Keep showing up. I like the way she also was humble enough to state that she has also failed. Same way when Wanjiru said her business shut down for a while. So I like how all of them have spotted one time or the other when they had to start from ground up literally and try again. So you see that you're not the only one that has business challenges. I've noticed that women, again, I'm saying women, I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying women. You can drag me that if you know where I am. I've noticed that women like to sit comfortably and make excuses. We have, first of all, you start because I'm a woman, it's because I'm not this, it's because I'm not that. But women are waking up every day and doing things that are hard to do. They are being daring, they are breaking the odds. So do not look down on yourself. I was watching a podcast earlier where somebody said, if you're a human being, one thing you need to do is to have audacity. You have to have audacity. The only way you can take the world is by being audacious. Show up, be in our faces. Let's get tired of seeing you. And just like, I mean, we are not all Christians here, so I'm just going to give a Christian example. Like the woman that kept going to the priest and asking for help, and not like the priest wanted to help her, just because he was tired of seeing her face, he decided to attend to her cause. So please be in our favor. Thank you all so much, ladies. I feel like I have gained more value listening to you guys. Like I feel so blessed. I don't even feel like the moderator. I feel like one of the women you're speaking with. I feel the most impacted. If this is all I got from the IgniteHER conference, I think it's enough for me, and I'm so, so happy. Before I do the recap, I'm going to give you all, since Akio is still on the screen, maybe we'll start from you. So tell us your final words, something you want the women to take home. It could be anything. It could be an advice. It could be a quote, what you want them to take home.
Okay. I think one of the things I live by is like, be so good they can't ignore you. Like whatever you do, just do it to the best of your ability. Be so good at it. Whatever they say, whatever they do, whatever they, you walk in rooms and people ignore you. You walk in rooms and people don't recognize your worth. If you're good at what you do and you know you're good at what you do, it should not matter. And that's what carries me. That's what gets me through tough times and tough people, and having to constantly, people that want you to prove yourself. It's just like, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I'm not here to prove it to you. I'm so good at it. And yeah.
Thank you so much. That was lovely. Thank you. Wanjiru, please, you will go next, and then we'll close the apostle.
I think my final word is, more than any other time, I think this is the perfect time of being a woman. There are so many opportunities for us, and we just need to prove that at the table. So don't watch things on the sideshow. Be part of the conversation and be part of the change in whichever. The other thing is, Africa can feed Africa. So in whatever ways we do, let's remember we need to bring the glory of our continent and to make it self-sustaining and to show the world what you're made of.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Be part of the conversation, be the change, and speak well about Africa. I traveled to Ghana recently, and I was speaking to Canadians, and they were telling me how that the Ghanaians in Canada always speak good about their country, and that's why they came to Ghana, because they like to hear, like when Ghanaians talk about Africa, they love the way they speak about it. But it's not the same thing they said about Nigerians. So please, when you go outside the shores of Africa, remember that before anything, you are an African. So present us well and be proud that you are an African and be part of the conversation. Thank you so much for that, Wanjiru. And now we're going to have Apostle.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, when your root is strong, there's no need to fear the wind, because it will come, right? But when your root is strong, there's no need to fear whatever's going to come and try and knock you down. And in this particular instance, I want to say two things. In that analogy, I will say that the root is your mindset. So I would say, if you take away one thing from today, firstly, for me, it would be, check what's happening in your thoughts, from imposter syndrome to, even your purpose ultimately. What are you thinking on a daily basis? What kind of thoughts are going through your mind? How clear is that? Take a moment to really just assess and take a look at that, because that's going to be like the root of how you kind of start each of your days and move forward in life. Secondly, I'd say, and I think we've all kind of said it in different ways, that we none of us have made it to where we are by ourselves, right? I believe in destiny angels. Like, there's people that just come into your life out of nowhere, when you're on your path. But the key is to be on your path. Destiny angels can only find you when you are a light, when you are actually going towards the thing that you want. And that doesn't mean that you have to have already figured it out. But as we were saying, Chinella was saying at the beginning, follow your curiosity. And in the process of following your curiosity, it will lead you to the staircase, step by step by step by step. You won't see the whole thing, but it will lead you there. And along the way, you will have the help and the support that you need from corners that you would never expect. So your mindset, and also one step at a time, follow your curiosity and trust it. And hopefully you'll get to where it is you want to be.
Thank you so, so much. That is so powerful. See my notes. I have like the 2 pages are full, and I have yet another. All right, ladies. So I'm going to quickly recap, and then we are going to have to stay back and to our great speakers. I'm going to start from the jump. So it was said that we should know we can get into a space without necessarily having all the skills. It is important that you notice the gaps that are in the market. And when you notice the gaps, you seek for how to fill those gaps. Partnerships are very important. You cannot go to anywhere alone. You have to go with people. Two heads are better than one. Know when to enter a market. And when you're in that market, be consistent. Same thing when Akire said you have to show up. Don't think that just because you are there, you should be noticed. You should be there long enough to be noticed. You should show up long enough that people know that, oh, this face we have been seeing you have been doing this. So be consistent. Know when to expand, know when to branch out. Both Wanjiru and Akoso spoke about that when Wanjiru mentioned how she moved from, okay, what can she do to potatoes so that you have a longer shelf life, right? So know when to expand, know when to move from the initial idea you had into a more blossoming idea. Know how to turn problems into solutions. Have audacity, start small and start from where you are. I think it was Abiwe that said, knowing that it doesn't end with you. Anything that you're doing, ensure that you build for the long term. Do not build like you're building it just for yourself and your family. Build for the bigger picture, build for more people, because when you have people in mind, it helps to keep you grounded. I think it was Akoso that said you have to be anchored in your purpose. And that's where she talks about validation, that it's important that you leave validation alone. Most of you are only looking, if nobody claps for you, you stop moving. If you make a post and you do not get any likes, you rush and go and delete the post. If you do something and nobody has come to say, oh, you look so beautiful, oh, your product is so nice, oh, X, oh, Y, you stop doing it. And the way they say that it's noisy at the top is because when you shine, you now see the crowd. But before you see the crowd, you have to be anchored in your purpose, as Apostle has said, and you should need validation. Same, I think it was also in the same conversation that she said to know your why. Even in the earlier session, the morning session, the speaker, Dr. Vuni, said the same thing. Know your why. Know why you are in business. Know why you are doing what you're doing. Starting again. When things fail, it was still Akiri and Wanjiru that talked about it. When things fail, know how to start again. Do not believe that it's the end of the road. Build authentic relationships too. Have relationships with people that would help you as you grow. Most of you don't have friends. When we check your status, you're saying every day you're cutting off people. As the new year is coming, you say you're cutting off people. You're always cutting off. Don't be a scissors. Build authentic relationships that would help you as you grow. Remain a student, commit to life long learning. It's okay not to know, give yourself grace. I'm the one that wrote this thing, but I don't know what I wrote. Okay, I think I wrote, know how to stay even when it's quiet. I think it was Apostle that said that. Know how to stay on your course even when it's quiet. Know when to also go back to the drawing board, rising after a fall. That was Wanjiru. Tap into the opportunities. Ensure that you walk the talk. It was also Wanjiru that said, since she noticed that women are not so much in business, she decided to employ women in her own business. So know how to walk your talk. Always find a way. There is always a way. And then the famous analogy of know what is the rubber and the glass. Sorry, I'm rushing. I hope the French people are catching up. I don't want to keep our speakers too long. Feed yourself with positive affirmations. Ensure that you tell yourself the right words. Remember, it starts from within. Know your core, hire the rest. I think that was one Jerry that said, know your core, know what you're good at, and what you're not good at, you can outsource. Get feedback. That was a period that talked about getting feedback. Know how to refine products. Know when things are not working. Be truthful to yourself. Choose your people, right? Know your numbers. This is also very important. If you're a woman or you have a business, it's important to know your numbers. Somebody cannot ask you, are you making profits? Are you breaking even? Are you running at a loss? And you do not know. Know your numbers. Know how much is coming in, how much is going out, where you are at. Akosua had also said the lessons build your character and you should trust your journey. So don't just stay and wish to become Akosua, for example, or Wanjiru or Apiwe, or even me, because I'm somebody. But don't just stay and wish to become people, right? Know that your journey or the process is what builds you. If you believe in what you're doing, keep doing it, and people will believe in you. I think that is also a key way. Be so good that they cannot ignore you. This is also a key way. And I think Wanjiru has also said, be part of the conversation, be the change. And finally, Akosua ended with, when your root is strong, there is no need to fear the wind. And it is with that that we are going to be closing the session. I enjoyed myself. I had fun. Please give a round of applause to our three speakers, Akosua, Wanjiru, Apiwe. Thank you so much. Please follow them. Their handles are on the screen. Not on the screen, sorry, the comment section. So please follow them. Do not bombard them with questions that, follow them. Let them just see the support from Impact Her. Like what they are doing, join the conversation, be part of people, support your own. This is their African women, support African women. Thank you once again, panelists. I really enjoyed the conversation. We hope to have you sometime again in the near future. Until then, do have an amazing afternoon. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, ladies, you see, it's really Ignite Her, and I like that you all are getting ignited. This is just session 2. It does get better. It really does get better. We are going to be going for the break shortly, but before that, remember, we have a lot of freebies for you. I'm going to be giving a recharge card later on. I'm going to try to give a freebie or two, but most of the freebies I'm going to give them tomorrow. These are our sponsors. Do well to follow them. Very importantly, too, please go to our Instagram, Impact Us Instagram, Impact Us Facebook, TikTok. I don't know that. Twitter, Impact Us social media. Moderators, it will also help to put that in the comment section. Like the post we have made, drop comments, say what you're learning, right? So that people know that something is really happening and they join and be part of it. So please go to our social media handles and leave a like, leave a comment, repost, mention us. Let's create some buzz. And with that, I'm going to allow Sandra, I don't know if she's here, to tell us a bit about Manta, and then we're going to go for our break. Please ensure you come back after the break. Some of you that have been asking about AI, digital marketing, and all that good stuff, we'll be doing it after the break. And do not worry, after the break is our last session for today, and you can go and rest. I know that you all like stuff there. Thank you all so much, women. I'll see you in a bit. Sandra will let you know where we are going to be back. All right.
Okay, sorry, Sandra is no longer on the call. She's having network issues. So I'm just going to come in on behalf of Sandra. So we noticed that a lot of people are actually having difficulty filling the Mansa form. My moderators, please, you can drop the Mansa link. So what you need to do, once you've clicked on the bronze tier on the form, once you've clicked on it, you would see another part that shows, do you have a financial report? Please click no. Please click no. It's when you click yes, that is when it will take you to the silver tier and you would have difficulties. So if you click no, you are going to go smoothly and you can submit. So please just proceed with the no, and when you click no, you will be able to submit. And that is all the information we would like to pass to you about the Mansa platform. Thank you, everyone. DJ, please take it from here. Okay, just to let us know, we are to come back at 1:40 p.m. 1:40 West African time, Nigerian time. That is 12:40 Ghana time. And that is 3:40 Kenyan time, which is also 2:40 South African time. I'm saying 8:40 Caribbean time. So that is when we are to come back to this session. DJ, please, you can go about it.